piece of work is an idiomatic expression in English that can carry both neutral and negative meanings, depending on the context. At its most basic level, it simply refers to something that has been created or accomplished, such as a task, project, or artistic creation. In this neutral sense, it can describe anything from a painting to a written report, emphasizing the idea of something completed through effort. However, in everyday conversational use, the phrase often takes on a more informal and sometimes critical tone when applied to a person. When someone says, "He's a real piece of work," they are usually implying that the individual is difficult, unusual, or challenging to deal with. The exact meaning can vary, but it often suggests a mix of frustration and reluctant acknowledgment of the person's strong or distinctive personality. The expression becomes especially interesting because its meaning depends heavily on tone, context, and delivery. In some cases, it may carry a hint of admiration, suggesting that the person is complex or impressive in their own way. In other situations, it can be clearly negative, indicating that the individual is troublesome, unpredictable, or even exhausting to interact with. This flexibility makes it a nuanced phrase in spoken English. Historically, the phrase has roots in earlier uses where piece referred to a work or product of effort, similar to how we might say a piece of art or a piece of writing. Over time, the application expanded beyond objects to describe people metaphorically, as if they were a creation with notable traits. This shift allowed the phrase to evolve into its modern idiomatic form. In practical usage, understanding the intent behind piece of work requires attention to subtle cues. Facial expressions, tone of voice, and the surrounding conversation all contribute to how the phrase is interpreted. Without these cues, especially in written form, it can sometimes be ambiguous, leaving the listener or reader unsure whether the statement is meant as praise or criticism. The phrase also reflects how language often captures complexity in a compact form. Instead of listing specific traits, saying someone is a piece of work allows the speaker to convey a layered impression quickly. It acknowledges that the person does not fit neatly into simple categories, and may have both admirable and frustrating qualities at once. In conclusion, piece of work is a versatile expression that can describe both completed tasks and complex personalities, often with a nuanced or critical undertone. Its meaning depends largely on context and delivery, making it a vivid example of how idiomatic language can convey depth and subtlety in everyday communication.